Recently, my mate Vizza posted a video where his viewers voted on England's most boring club. The winner was Bristol City. This season will mark 9 years in a row that Bristol City have competed in the championship, with their highest finish being 8th and their lowest 18th. That is a decade of just constant mid-table finishes. This might be a dream for some clubs, but for fans of Bristol City, they're ready for the next chapter. I'm taking over as Bristol City manager with the dream of making England's most boring club Europe's most exciting. So here is the default starting 11 we have with Bristol City. It might be unfair for me to call them boring, but I've seen so many of you in the comment section down below wanting Bristol City rebuild, so it makes sense, it works. And I'm sure a lot of you lads are ready to get promoted to the Premier League, or at least have some hope of it. But a big goal of mine in this rebuild is to sign some exciting players. I'm wanting wonder kids, I'm wanting players with crazy amounts of flair. I'm wanting players that you look at it and say, for the most part, that's an exciting signing. And realism might go out the window. And we are getting stuck in right from the jump here, fellas. I would consider this to be a pretty exciting signing. Luca Langoni, the Argentinian midfielder, is joining us from Boca Juniors for £4.7 million. I mean, back in the day, this guy was an exciting player. I've seen many a career mode where he's turned into a superstar. But right now, 31-year-old Bermudan striker Naki Wells is leaving permanently. Losing a veteran of the squad here, Matty James, gone permanently. And with Luca Langoni joining the squad, I am cashing in on Mark Sykes, the Irishman, heading to West Brom for 1.7 mil. There are a few young talents in this squad, though, that I really want to see develop. Gonna get some loan moves happening for them. Ayman Banarus, the attacking midfielder off Turkey for the year, and Jamie Knight-Labelle, a Canadian defender. Not too red hot on him, but I'm going to give him an opportunity. The young centre back goes to Ireland. Getting rid of another one of the older players here, Cal Naismith, the Scotsman, returning to his motherland. I'm sticking to my word, lads. I don't care about realism. Realism is just gone out the window with this signing, but I wanted to make the side exciting. This is an exciting signing. David Washington, the Brazilian striker, joining us from Chelsea, £2.95 million. Having Washington and Conway as our two strikers, both young, both great prospects, this could be really exciting for the future. The loans continue though. Omar Taylor-Clark off to Al Miss City, Hayden Roberts off to Espanyol on loan, Sam Bell off to Frosinone on loan, and the final loan, the young French goalkeeper Stefan Bajic off to Cremonense on loan. We haven't gone too insane with the transfers this opening window though, just getting Washington and Langoni into the side. There are a lot of questions that I want to ask in this first half of the season, and we've got the money to go in and make more transfers in January, so it's really going to depend on how these opening few months go at Bristol City. I am disappointed we couldn't get a permanent move for Harry Cornick though. I'm really worried that he's going to take game time off of Conway and Washington. But in terms of where I want to finish in the league this season, as long as we finish higher than 8th, that is a win for me. That is the goal. Finish 8th or above and get Bristol City their best finish in the championship, in this last decade run at least. So far that is going well. We currently sit 7th here in the championship on 38 points. None of the relegated sides doing too well. They're all below us in the table right now, but we are equal on points with Preston. I want to make some moves to try getting us at least into the playoffs this year. And honestly, left midfield might be the option because Scott Twine has been recalled by Burnley. Although we do have the Albanian midfielder Anas Mehmeti, who has that special something. I might give him the keys to the left mid spot for the second half of this season. Before we sign a new player, we're going to sell somebody. I'm planning on selling 2 people. One of them I'm very happy about. It's Harry Cornick. He was stealing game time from Washington and Conway, so we've got rid of him permanently. But I want to go for a big time upgrade in between the sticks, which is going to see the Irishman Max O'Leary heading to Besiktas on a permanent deal. And we get our man in between the sticks. He is one of English football's best goalkeeping prospects, playing at Burnley in this save, who is sitting below us on the table. It is a no-brainer to bring this man in. We break Bristol City's transfer record, but we are going to get James Trafford, who is rocking one of the coolest goalkeeping kits in world football, and I'm hoping that he's rocking it when Bristol City win a Champions League title. And we've spent £10 million on the dot for his services. Despite signing Trafford, we still don't make the playoffs, but we achieve our goal. We get Bristol City their highest finish in this championship era since 2015. 7th place, no playoffs. Leeds United, West Brom automatically promoted. Relegation zone, Portsmouth do well as one of the promoted sides, but it is Plymouth Argyle, Oxford United, and Sheffield Wednesday heading down to League One. Crystal Palace, they win the FA Cup. And Fulham, my favorite English club, Fulham, winning the Carabao Cup. I was hoping we would find ourselves in this position, but it is Coventry going up to the Prem. But we've definitely made the right choice by signing Luca Langoni. He's our top goal scorer, already up to a 76 overall in his first season. And I am glad that I gave Mehmeti the starting 11, starting left midfield role. He's had a great second half of the year. Conway and Washington, half decent start for them, but it is clear we were scoring goals quite a lot throughout this season. I'm happy with the foundations we've laid. We are going to say goodbye though to a bunch of players. Tommy Backwell, Nilsson and James, all young players who I'm letting go. Mabude is heading back to his parent club, and Andy King, a Leicester City Premier League title winner, will be retiring. A promising first season though, slowly inching towards Bristol City becoming exciting. Let's continue that mission and hopefully get ourselves promoted in season 2. We're going to have to make some big moves happen if we want to find ourselves a Premier League club at the start of season number 3. First man out though, Joe Williams. He wanted to leave himself, so we're sending him to Luton Town. But on the very same day, we make a massive first signing for the season. It is the Dutch left wing back Michel Bakker joining us from Atalanta for £5.6 million, 75 overall. The more players we can get around that mid 70s marker, the better chance we have of running the championship. And we're going to cash in on our now second choice left back. It is Cameron Can of Pringles heading to Burnley. His value drops down, but we get £3.9 million for him. And 2 days later, his right back partner is going as well. It is Ross McCrory heading to Almeria. You guys can probably guess what position I want to upgrade next. There we go. We get our man. I'm actually over the moon with this man. He's proven he can be a part of a championship promotion campaign, but he just hasn't been able to crack it in the Tottenham starting 11. So we are going to do a deal with my fellow Australian Ange Postecoglou and bring the right back Jed Spence to the championship, to Bristol City. That is another great signing. We pay £7 million for his services. We're not done yet though, fellas. Gonna sell Zach Viner. He wanted out of the club. This is how you know we're making a shift in an exciting trajectory. We are gonna beat out FC Porto and sign the Belgian centre half Matt Smets here. £5.5 million for the young defender. I'm hoping he can be a key part of this project. But we still had to sneak in some sort of a loan move this season, and that is for probably the only guy I'm going to be loaning here on in, Ayman Abanarus, heading to Berlin for the next 2 years. I feel like this is the sort of team right now that can come home with a wet sail. We've got so many young players in this squad that are going to continue growing throughout the year. Langoni, Spence, Trafford, Bakker, all these guys are going to be superstars already in the championship, but Washington, Knight, Mehmeti, all these guys, we need them continually picking up as the season goes if we want to get ourselves up to the Premier League. It's better than this time last year, but we are hanging on to the final playoff game by a thread, the final playoff spot by a thread. We do have the opportunity to climb up the table, and this promotion hunt is a lot closer than last year. But we do not have enough money to go in for anybody in this January window. I am trusting what we've built so far, and I want to see if that's enough to get us up to the Premier League. Come on, Bristol. We finish 4th here in the regular season, meaning we are in the playoffs, battling it out with Everton, Hull City, and Sheffield United for that final Premier League spot with Watford and Southampton. And we're going to be versing Hull City to start things off. This is a huge challenge here, fellas. Can we set ourselves up in this first leg away in Hull? Yes, we do. It would have been nice if Doherty didn't get that last minute goal there, but we head back to Ashton Gate with a 1-goal advantage. Our season is on the line. Every game here on in is sudden death. Do not bottle this, lads. A draw or a win gets us to Wembley, and we win it. Oh my God, Mehmeti, the Albanian left midfielder, equalizes in the 82nd minute. We're heading to Wembley to face either Everton or Sheffield United. And here we go, the promotion playoff final. 3rd place versus 4th place. Bristol City versus Everton. Do we have what it takes to get ourselves into the Premier League for season number 3? Or are we going to have to go all over again? Come on, Bristol City, get yourselves to the Prem. We do it! Come on, it's our first 2 signings from season 1. Langoni and David Washington, who are going to score the goals. Oh, that would have been electric. Washington in the 88th minute. We have been promoted to the Premier League for season number 3. Oh, that is brilliant. Sides heading down to League 1 though. Birmingham City, Rotherham and Barnsley. Leicester win the FA Cup. Liverpool win the Carabao Cup. Luca Langoni was an absolute stud for us this season. 81 overall, 25 goal contributions. He is going to hit the ground running as we get ready for life in the Premier League. Jason Knight, a great year for him. Conway, decent signs there. Him and Washington, they're starting to get a little bit of a gap now in terms of overall. We really are going to have some big decisions to make as we get ready for life in the Premier League if we want to survive. Andreas Wyman is going to be retiring though, and Knight LaBelle, the Canadian, we're going to let him walk on a free. Bring on the Premier League though with Bristol City. Here we go, season 3. We're in the Premier League, but we desperately need some squad depth, so I'm going to start off the season in not so exciting fashion, but we're going to sign some young free agent players. Jules Stevens, a right back. Henry Myers, a right back, who I'm probably going to look to convert into either a centre back or a left back. And whilst we wait for the other 2 to accept, we're going to make 1 player sale right now. I was happy to keep him on the bench, but George Tanner wanted out. He only had 1 year left on his contract, so we've decided to cash in. And there we go, fellas. We get our 2 other signings, Nicolo Bernardi and this guy, Christian Martins, who I'm quite excited by. All of these guys joining us on freeze. But now it's time to put some of this Premier League promotion money to work. But we're going to start off with our first major signing. We're going to sign one of the most handsome men in world football right now, Riccardo Calafiori. I'm distracted by this man's gaze. We're going to sign the Italian defender from Bologna for £27 million. His value goes up as well. I do think it would work out brilliantly for us though if we were to sign a top quality, world-class, soon-to-be centre midfielder. So we're going to make the difficult decision here, fellas. Taylor Gardner-Hickman was coming along decently, but we need to go to the next level if we're going to survive relegation. We've sold him for 10 mil to Fenerbahce. But whilst we wait to sign a new centre midfielder, we're going to get some loan moves happening. It's for some of the young fellas. First one, Nicolo Bernardi is heading to Burnley on loan, and the young Dutchman Christian Martins heading to Leeds United. But we have just about broken the bank to get this one over the line. On the eve of our opening game of the Premier League season, we're going to sign the Albanian Christian Aslani. We're going to have a little Albanian connection there between left midfield and centre midfield, but we get him from Inter Milan for £24 million. Man, I'm praying we have enough to keep us up in the Premier League this season. We worked out off to get here. It's going to have to be a team effort, which is a captain obvious statement, but let's see how the first half of life in the Premier League goes for England's most boring club. We're in a great position, fellas. A great position. Currently 12th on 25 points. A few wins, though, could put us up into Conference League territory. And in regards to the relegation zone, we are 14 points clear of Leeds United, which is 11 points clear of Leeds United, which is massive. I mean, we're tied on points right now with Manchester United and Tottenham. That is great for our first season. The growth from James Trafford, though, has been absolutely unbelievable. I am so glad we signed him in season 1. Already 84 rated. We did need some help, though, in the backup center midfield position just for squad depth. Now, I tried to sign this guy, Lucas Gonzalez. This would have been an incredible pickup, but we didn't have enough money to even sign him on a free. That's how much we have stretched our transfer budget. So instead, this is a huge blow, but it's still squad depth nonetheless. Jordi Lopez, the Uruguayan center midfielder, will be joining us on a free. Come on, fellas. That is a brilliant first season. We finished 7th in the Premier League here with Bristol City. No longer are we England's most boring club. We are now Europe's most boring club. No. But we are going to be playing European football next year. That is a great result from our first year. 55 points. It's not the highest scoring point season, but relegation zone, Brentford, Watford, and Nottingham Forest go down with a whimper. As you would have seen as well, Liverpool do win the Premier League. Man City win the FA Cup. We haven't really been going on any runs in the Cups though. Liverpool win the Carabao. And for the first time in this Bristol City rebuild, we're going to take a look at European football. PSG winning the Champions League. Inter Milan win the Europa League. And Roma, they win the Conference League. I did say it would be interesting to see how Langoni stepped up this year. And he has done just that. Him and Washington were our two superstars in this season. Conway, he's grown all right. He's putting up all right performances, but we're getting to that point of the rebuild now where we might have to upgrade. Mehmeti, decent year for him. The lads are doing decently all around. I'm just grateful that we finished so high up in our first Premier League season. And for the first time this season, we have nobody walking at the end of the season. Take a shot for every time I just said the word season. How'd the young fellas go? Myers only up to a 70. Stevens only up to a 72. Bernardi doesn't even grow. How'd our Dutch fella go? Martins goes up to a 73. So we've got some serious... I'm not too stoked with that. Overall though, I couldn't have asked for a much better start to life in the Premier League. We're playing European football quicker than I had expected, and I want to make sure we stay there. I want to make sure we grow on this. I'm getting a new left back in. Baka did a great job with us for getting us up to the Premier League, but it's now to get ready for the next era. Bjorn Meyer joining us here from Lazio. A large chunk of our budget though did go to signing Meyer, so I need to recharge that and get us an absolute war chest because I want to sign a world-class center midfielder. So Michel Baka, a great servant for the club, helped us get over the hump, but we're going to sell him to Wolfsburg. And we're also saying goodbye to Jason Knight. I definitely pondered over this one a little more than most transfers. I wasn't certain whether I should do it, but ultimately, I think we need to get somebody a little younger and a little higher overall for the next era. Jason Knight heading to Atalanta. We're in contract talks with somebody massive to join the starting 11, but for now, we've got a loan move to deal with. It is going to be Christian Martins, another loan move for him. But there we go, fellas. We get our man. It is a former Bristol City player. I don't think there's any bad blood between Alex Scott and Bristol City. He left last season in real life, but he's rejoining us here at the age of 22. 82 overall, 37.5 million pounds. It only makes sense for him to come back and join us on this European journey. This might be the last time I loan him out, but Ayman Benarous, another loan move for him. And we're going to get Jules Stevens a loan move this year, heading back to his homeland, PSV. We are starting to get some insane transfer offers for Washington. 81 million pounds from Lazio. I have no intention of selling him, but those are some crazy numbers. Regardless though, this is what our starting 11 is looking like coming into season 4 and coming into our second year in the Premier League. Surely this team is good enough to avoid second season syndrome and hopefully go on a run in the Conference League. We've been drawn a pretty decent group here. We should be topping this group. We should be getting out of it. Of course, the goal of this video is to win the Champions League, but if we could qualify and get some European experience by going through the Conference League, that's going to help us. I have aspirations at top 4. Right now, though, 7th is where we sit on the 1st of January. Also, Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou doing the Lord's work over there. Currently on an invincible season. 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. Watch them go and bottle this. How do we go in our Conference League group? Brilliant, brilliant. Couldn't have asked for much better. 0 draws, 0 losses. We are into the knockout stages. Have to go through the prelims though to figure out who we're facing. With no backup left midfielders in the club though, I kind of realized we were cooked if anything happened to Mehmeti. So I've gone ahead here and picked up Nasi Unavar, the Turkish left midfielder, on a decent price. His value goes down, which is frustrating, but 23 years of age, 74 overall. There is room for growth rather. I don't expect him to turn into a superstar, but I think he's going to be very handy coming off the bench. Come on, lads. This has been such quicker progress than I had hoped for or expected. 69 points. Nice. But we finished 3rd in the Premier League here. We are heading to the Champions League with Bristol City in season number 5. Liverpool win the league. Oh, you know what I've just realized? I was half joking when I said on the 1st of January, watch Tottenham blow this. Tottenham copped 8 losses and we finish above them. They narrowly survive and get a top 4 spot. That is actually hilarious, Tottenham. Relegation zone, Man United in 9th, Chelsea in 10th, but it is Burnley, Everton and Fulham heading down. Brentford do win the FA Cup. Arsenal win a North London derby to win the Carabao. PSG win the Champions League. I'm really interested to see how we go go there next year. Arsenal win the Europa League, but did we win the Conference League? So as we all know, undefeated in the group stages, round of 16, we beat Malmo 4-1 into the quarterfinals, where we lose to Real Sociedad 5-4, and they end up winning the Conference League title over Hoffenheim. That's actually cooked. That is actually cooked. Washington, 86 overall now, 32 goals. Conway, I'm not going to lie, he was probably first on the chopping block into next season, but he has saved himself here. +4, 29 goals, 33 goal contributions. Langoni, he's been, up until this point, crushing the goals, but this year he helps out a little more with the assists, which we really needed. A great first year back for Alex Scott. I'm happy, lads. I'm really happy with it. We are going to be saying goodbye, though, to Harvey Wiles-Richards, who is heading to Preston North End on a permanent transfer next year. James Trafford is up to a 90 overall. I need to get his contract sorted here and get him, 3-year extension. That is fine by me. Champions League bound, though, in season 5. Bring it on, fellas. We're in the Champions League, and we've just gone and made our most exciting signing of the video. This is huge. Not only have we got one of the world's best wingers and most exciting wingers at this point, we have also picked him up on a mega bargain. I just got a million more times excited for this season, for this 5th season, because we have signed Jeremy Doku, 87 overall, 25 years of age to come into the starting 11. And with 12 months remaining on his contract, we get him for £67 million. Signing Doku, though, means I am going to sell Anis Mehmeti. He's been solid for us, but I'm happy to have Unava as the backup, and I honestly want the £24 million to go and help sign another superstar for this squad. We're in the Champions League. You can't take that for granted. Every time I'm in the Champions League in a rebuild, my objective needs to be win it, and that carries over this season. Mehmeti, thank you for your service, mate, but the Albanian is off to Villa Park. Come on now, fellas. This is absolutely awesome. Our starting 11 gets stronger and stronger. We pick up a right back here, Arnal Martinez. £64 million, almost the same we paid for Doku, 85 rated. It's huge. Man, I want to give it our best crack this year. I really do. Come on now, fellas. You cannot look me dead in the eye and tell me you don't think this team is electric. This team is unbelievable. We are really only we need Smets, Conway, Maya, and Aslani. We're 4 players away from winning a Champions League, in my opinion. The rest of our squad is good enough to win a Champions League. Big first half of the season, though, for these lads. We need to get out of our Champions League group, and from there, I'll have to figure out if I want to make some upgrades or just figure out what the second half of the year is going to look like. But speaking of what do things look like, this is what our Champions League group looks like. It does not look easy. We have been drawn into the group of death. Borussia Dortmund, Roma, and Celtic. 3 historic, world-famous club names. Bristol City is going to have to pull something off here. We're going to have to pull something incredible off if we want to win the Champions League here in Season 5. Yep, it ain't happening this year. My optimism was blinded. It was ill-placed. We have finished bottom of Group G here, meaning we're not even going to fall into the Europa League or the Conference League playoffs. We're just straight out of European football for the rest of Season 5. We need to use that to our advantage, honestly, fellas. We need to make sure that we finish in the top 4, currently sitting 4th, but we need to get there comfortably. We need to get up to 2nd or 3rd or even push for a Premier League title. Maybe going out when we did was a blessing in disguise. 2nd in the Premier League here. We end up finishing above West Ham United, who were leading at the halfway point comfortably. Newcastle United winning the Premier League title, those 6 points ahead of us. But this rise with Bristol City has been incredible. Back to the Champions League again for Season 6. I would love if one of the big clubs got relegated, but yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Man City win the FA Cup. We made it to the semi-finals there. Man City also win the Carabao Cup. No semi-final appearance. We go up to Ipswich in the round of 16. Borussia Dortmund, our group stage opponents, end up winning the Champions League. Fiorentina win the Europa League, and Villarreal win the Conference League. I'm so glad that I said screw realism in season number 1, because signing Washington has been the masterstroke of the video. 30 goals, 5 assists, 90 overall. Conway has had quite the career redemption as well. From being on the cusp of sold 2 seasons ago to now 84 rated, bagging himself 25 goals. He's going to be a crucial part of this squad moving forward. Unfortunately, though, we will be saying goodbye to Hayden Roberts. He was a solid backup left back option, but he refused to sign a new contract. and is signed elsewhere. Getting grouped last year was unacceptable. This year we're going all out. I ain't selling any players, lads. I am signing only bona fide superstars to our starting 11, whilst also trying to improve our bench. I want to go all out for not only a Champions League title, but a Premier League one as well. First man in is an improvement to the back line. We picked him up on a bargain deal. You guys know I love a bargain deal. It is Piero Hincapié, the Ecuadorian centre-back, joining us from FC Porto. 11 months left on his contract. We get him for £44.5 million. And only a few days later, we have signed one of the biggest players of the video. I don't think I've signed this guy in a very long time in a career mode / rebuild, if at all. I'm trying to wrap my brain around now whether I've even signed him in a rebuild this year. There are only a few specific options and opportunities to sign this guy, and when you're trying to build one of Europe's vibiest teams, he's a first ballot candidate, and when he's available for less than 12 months on his deal, you have to make it happen. Warren Zaire-Emery, welcome to Bristol City. The Frenchman is going to join us for £83 million. I do think it's time for us to pick up a backup striker as well, just in case anything happens to Washington or Conway. We've got Fabio Silva now as an option. He was a part of the relegated Nottingham Forest side who lost the FA Cup final. Fabio Silva back in the Prem and on our bench. Big year ahead. Last year, I was hopeful that we could win a Champions League. This year, I think we have to be bang on favourites. Our lowest rated player in the starting 11 is 85 rated Conway, who I expect to grow exponentially this season. We are looking good, lads. I'm just hoping we don't get put in the group of death again. It's not group of death. It is not the group of death, but it is still so damn tough. Villarreal, Fiorentina. Didn't Villarreal win the Conference League and Fiorentina win the Europa League both last year? So we've got 2 European champions and FC Midtjylland as well joining us. We're in Group G for the second year. Let's see if we can get out of Group G. That is a relief, lads. We are out of Group G. Top of the group, 1 loss. I think it's an inverted record to what we had last year, which I'm here for. I am here for it. I'm hoping I'm going to be here for the round of 16 draw. I'm hoping we get somebody good. We get Braga. I can live with that. Champions League round of 16 is always a mixed bag. Braga, the Portuguese side, I'll take it. What I will not take, though, is 5th place in the Premier League. Luckily, we are only 4 points away from the top of the table, so we're equally as close to 1st place as we are to dropping down to 6th. But unfortunately, on the 1st of January, we're going to be losing Stefan Bajic here. He goes to Celtic. I was debating getting a new backup goalkeeper anyway, so this kind of just forces my hand here in January. And there it is. We get our man. It's a backup goalkeeper, and I had to do it. It's an Australian. It is Joe Galchi, the former Adelaide United shot stopper, coming across here from Aston Villa. Joe Galchi's brother is a fan of the channel, watches the videos, so shout out to you, shout out to the Galchi family, keep killing it. But we're going to sign him here as our backup shot stopper. Showtime, fellas. We're away in Braga, in Portugal. First Champions League knockout game of the video, season number 6. We verse Braga and we only get a draw. We absolutely dominate them, but we only get a draw. If we crash out here to Braga, I'm actually going to be so discouraged. Ashton Gate, we need to step it up in front of our hometown fans, and we do just that. Again, we absolutely dominate them, but it's only a 1-goal win. I'll take it. Langoni rescues us. We're into the Champions League quarterfinals, but I'm not feeling too inspired after that. And we cannot afford to play a pretty relaxed style of game here because we have been drawn Juventus in the quarterfinals. We need to be 1,000 times more clinical than we were against Braga. And just like Braga, we are away on the road for the first leg here, heading to Turin, heading to northern Italy as we take down Juventus. That's brilliant. It is Conway who is going to give us the late go-ahead goal. We take a 1-0 lead back to Ashton Gate. But we are without Alex Scott for this second leg. Too many yellow cards sees him suspended. So that is going to see us Lani coming into the starting 11 here. He does have experience against Juventus, of course, a former Inter Milan player, but he's been away from them for a few years now. Can we get ourselves into the Champions League semi-finals and hold on? Yes, we do. Washington and Zaire-Emery, the goal scorers. We're heading to the final 4 of the Champions League. Interesting. All right, semi-finals, and we have got Sevilla. They took down Shakhtar Donetsk 4-2 in the quarterfinals. We're taking the Spaniards on here for the opportunity to face either PSG or Inter Milan. Scott coming back into the starting 11 here at the perfect time. We are at home for the first leg here, which is different to every other game in this season so far, but it is going to be a draw. All right, I don't like that. Conway in the first minute, but we now have everything to play for as we head on the road to Sevilla. We're taking on Sevilla here, man. It's gonna be tense. All right, fellas, here it is. Second leg, all tied up. A spot in the Champions League final on the line. Fixture congestion is kicking our ass slightly. Hincapi, Conway, Washington, all coming in a little fatigued for this one after a game in the Premier League against Everton. But can we get ourselves through to a Champions League final? Yes, we can. Doku and Conway score. I'm praying Doku is not suspended for the final, but we take down Sevilla and we're heading to the Champions League final with Bristol City, fellas. I'm so glad we signed Zaire Emery from them at the start of the year, because we have got PSG in the Champions League final here in season number 6. They end up taking down Inter Milan 3-2 on aggregate. This is going to be a massive challenge. Taking a look around the grounds, it's another French side winning European silverware. The Europa League going to start an A. All right, I was worried. If I saw a French team winning the Conference League as well, that would have been a terrible omen. We finish second in the Premier League, though, on goal differential. That's a very low-scoring title-winning season, but we get 14 draws, 21 wins, 3 losses, the exact same as Arsenal. But their incredible defense has helped them win a Premier League title. Relegation zone heading down this year are going to... Tottenham missed out on relegation by 3 points. Leicester, Brentford, Everton go down. Liverpool win the FA Cup and Wolves win the Carabao. I am genuinely so excited to use this team in game, though. I feel like we have got goals galore waiting for us. I could see this being like an 8-7 scoreline. I'm excited though, fellas. Bring on the Champions League final with Bristol City. One thing that I will say I love about this rebuild is England's most boring team. I'm talking about us now scoring 8 goals in a Champions League final against PSG. That is pretty exciting if you ask me. Oh God, Mbappe's still here as well. That is not exciting. But here we go, lads. In Portugal, we take on PSG with a chance to make Bristol City European champions. Oh, they've threaded through to Mbappe. Trafford didn't know much about that, but he makes a save regardless. Myers just turned Nuno Mendes there, puts the ball in. Washington gets his head, but doesn't put it into the back of the net. Bit of space. Washington turns it back. Conway turns it back. 1-on-1. What a goal, lads. Donnarumma in no man's land. We're going to take the lead in the Champions League final here against PSG. What a brilliantly worked goal. Do not allow them on the stroke of half time to get into this one. I will be so mad at myself. We need to defend Mbappe better. What a block. What a block. Bring in the defender in. R1 defending, but we don't need it. Maya just comes from behind and picks his pocket. And now we might be able to get him on the counter attack. Maya's involved in everything here. Maya is my store. Maya, the left back, scores it. That is one of the great individual goals. Oh my God, we hugged it there. The left back with a finish of a seasoned striker. Look at that. The finish was the most impressive part of it. We had the sweaty goal opening. Maya goes for glory, and we have a 2-goal lead here against PSG. Could finish it here. Back post. Great ball. Great finish. Donnarumma going the wrong way. And it had to be the man who returns to Bristol City. Scott is going to be the man that puts the cherry on top as Bristol City are going to win this Champions League. There it is, fellas. What an incredible performance. What an incredible rebuild. We have taken Bristol City from England's most boring club to Europe's biggest, best, and most exciting. James Trafford, with some absolutely unprecedented growth in this rebuild, is the man wearing the captain's armband as we have officially made Bristol City European champions. Lads, if you enjoyed this rebuild, make sure you click here to subscribe and click here to watch another video.